Actress and OnlyFans model Daphne Joy accused her famous ex of rape and physical abuse in a post to social media last month. But now that ex, who just so happens to be actor and rapper Curtis Jackson, better known as 50 Cent, is firing back and suing Daphne Joy for defamation. The rapper filed the suit on May 6th, claiming his ex's false accusations have subjected him to extensive public ridicule, hatred, and contempt, with members of the public calling for Jackson to be canceled or thrown in the trash, and some of the comments going as far as praising prior attempts on his life. According to court documents, the suit stems from this March 28th Instagram post made by Daphne Joy, whose real name is Daphne Narvaez. The post seemingly stems from 50 Cent's jokes about Narvaez being an alleged sex worker for the embattled hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs. The accusation of being a sex worker was made by music producer Rodney Jones Jr., aka Lil Rod, in his $30 million federal lawsuit against Diddy. In the complaint, Jones specifically names Daphne Joy as one of 3 women who allegedly receive a monthly stipend or allowance from Diddy for alleged sex work. After Narvaez was named in the suit, 50 Cent took to social media to share his thoughts about the mother of his 11-year-old son being named as an alleged sex worker. In a post to Instagram, 50 Cent is photographed with a cigar in his mouth in the rain with the caption reading in part, "I didn't know you was a sex worker, you little sex worker, LOL." Daphne Joy later denied the claim, and in a post made to social media, she wrote, "I am deeply hurt by the lies in the Rodney Jones's lawsuit. The claim that I'm a sex worker is 100% false and character assassination. I am retaining an attorney to explore all legal remedies against both Rodney and his attorney." That same day, Daphne Joy made another post to Instagram slamming 50 Cent with a Target post made for him, as his full name is at the top of the statement. The post reads, "Everything is a joke to you until our safety is compromised, which is happening now. You are wreaking real havoc, frenzy, and chaos onto people's lives. How would you feel if Sire was the one in handcuffs for nothing? We moved to New York to give you the opportunity to be a father to your son, and you saw him 10 times out of 2 years that we lived 1 mile away from you. I'm tired of upholding and protecting an image to our son that you have never earned. Let's put the real focus on your true evil actions of raping me and physically abusing me. You are no longer my oppressor, and my God will handle you from this point on. You have permanently damaged the last hope I had for you as a father to preserve our family with these last and final false claims made against me. You have broken our hearts for the last and final time." 50 Cent and Daphne Joy reportedly dated between 2011 and 2012 and split after the birth of their son. In 2013, 50 Cent was charged with domestic violence against Daphne Joy and pleaded guilty to a lesser charge of misdemeanor vandalism. He allegedly kicked her in the stomach and destroyed her property during an argument. But the get-rich-or-die-trying rapper struck a deal with LA prosecutors for 3 years of probation and 30 days of community service. In the suit, 50 Cent claims Daphne Joy's post was a purposeful attempt to ruin his reputation and to keep him from seeing their 11-year-old son. We need to take a quick break from this story. If you know us at Law&Crime, you know Morgan & Morgan is a proud sponsor of ours. And as viewers, sometimes our videos show the world isn't always safe. So if you're ever hurt, it can be confusing and scary, especially if you don't know where to turn. But we've got a little solution up our sleeves because Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, can help. Like myself, and I'm sure millions of others, we always have our phones around. And guess what? You can submit a claim right now from your phone, and with just the click of a button, your injury could be worth millions. Plus, Morgan & Morgan doesn't settle for lowball offers. In the past couple of months, they've gotten verdicts of $12 million in Florida, $26 million in Philly, and $6.8 million right here in New York. All of these, by the way, were significantly higher than the highest insurance offer. So if you're injured, you can easily start by submitting a claim at www.forthepeople.com/LCnews or by dialing #law, that's #529 on your phone. According to the filing, she shared the post the same day reports emerged that 50 Cent was seeking sole custody of their son Sire in light of the sex worker accusations made against Daphne Joy in the Rodney Jones lawsuit. The suit also states she was given multiple opportunities to correct or retract her statements, and when she didn't, 50 Cent took action to vindicate his rights and protect his reputation.
You know, this is much like any time you get in a defamation case, these are he said, she said battles. She claims online that he sexually assaulted her. He denies that, and he has a right to bring a defamation claim in court. She has a right to speak her mind, and eventually, if the case continues on, a jury will decide who's right.
While speaking with attorney Joe Meadows, he explains unlike criminal cases, you don't have to prove a defamation case beyond reasonable doubt.
Well, in the beginning of a case, the plaintiff has to at least show that they have a prima facie or a legal claim to assert. They don't have to win it as soon as they file the lawsuit, but they have to show that it has merit. And a court will decide after the lawyers argue whether or not a claim has some merit and should go forward. Ultimately, to win on the case, a jury is going to decide whether or not the plaintiff has proven their defamation claim by what's called a preponderance of the evidence, which just means greater than 50%. This is not a criminal case where you have to have a higher standard of beyond reasonable doubt, but it's a civil case, and preponderance of the evidence is the typical standard.
But he adds since 50 Cent is a public figure, he would have to prove his former girlfriend made the statements knowing they are false.
When the defamation plaintiff is a public figure, and that could mean that they're a celebrity, that could mean that they're a politician, and in some instances, that could be anybody who is out there talking about a public issue and advocating for some sort of resolution of the issue. You can even become a limited purpose public figure. If that is the case, then the plaintiff does have a harder burden to prove his defamation. He or she has to show that the defamation defendant, the person that was making alleged defamatory statements, made the statements with actual malice, which in the legal world means that they said something false, knowing it was false, or recklessly disregarding the truth. And certainly here, I don't think there will be any dispute that 50 Cent is a public figure. He will have to show that Daphne Joy made these statements knowing they were false or recklessly disregarding the truth. And perhaps he can meet that burden, perhaps not. Maybe that's one of the defenses that Daphne Joy plans on spending some time on. Certainly, the subject matter of allegations of sexual assault is a common subject matter of defamation lawsuits. You do see a lot of these, and the allegations of sexual assault oftentimes do arise out of some sort of prior relationship. They don't always have to be, but it is something that I do see a lot in the defamation world. But you can see any type of allegation that can hurt somebody's reputation as a subject matter in a defamation lawsuit. It could be as common as so-and-so stole from me, or so-and-so acted unethically when they performed some sort of service for me. It really can be anything as long as the plaintiff can show that what was said about that person harms their reputation in the community.
The suit was filed in Harris County, Texas, where the rapper moved to in 2021. But Meadows says since Daphne Joy lives in California, that may present jurisdictional issues in the courts.
Interesting issues here. These are jurisdictional issues. They come up not just in defamation cases, but they'll come up in any time you have a civil case or even a criminal case. Usually, if you're a plaintiff, you would like to bring your lawsuit in your hometown, your local court. And that's what 50 Cent did here. Now, Daphne Joy, she is not a Texas resident. She apparently, according to what's said in the complaint, she has a residence in California. So she is maybe a California resident. 50 Cent certainly could have sued her in California, but he wanted to sue her in his hometown, his home court. The court, and I suspect the lawyers will be arguing these issues to the court, might address the issue of whether or not Daphne Joy can be sued in Texas, given that she's a California resident. And that's going to turn on an interesting issue in defamation cases where what it was that she said on her Instagram post, did she purposely direct her statements at the Texas forum? And that will be something that the court will decide after the lawyers argue over that. Well, I'm from a lawyer standpoint, I'm always interested in the legal issues. And I'm interested in the facts too, and some of the drama, but I'm more interested in the legal issues. And I was talking about the jurisdictional issues earlier. What I find interesting is that because 50 Cent filed in state court in Texas, that could allow Daphne Joy to take advantage of Texas's anti-SLAPP law, which is a particular procedural defense mechanism that could be in her favor. If 50 Cent had filed suit against Daphne Joy in Texas federal court, or if Daphne Joy decides to remove the case from state court to federal court, then that Texas anti-slap defense procedure would not be available to Ms. Narvaez.
In the filing, 50 Cent claims he and his lawyers gave Daphne Joy several opportunities to correct or retract her statement. However, Meadows says if she does, it might not be enough to dismiss the suit by a judge.
I doubt it. It is something that when I do plaintiff cases, I do defense cases, and if I'm on a defense case, it's certainly a subject that comes up with my clients, whether or not they should retract or change what they said. And the reason that you sometimes do that is to minimize damages. If she were to retract now, if she were to apologize now, then she takes some of the sting out of the reputational harm. She can minimize damages, but it's unlikely that that is going to get his claim tossed. It's just a matter of, how much money a jury might decide or might not decide to award.
And with the root of the suit stemming from a social media post, Meadows explains with the added layer of social media where anyone can take their comments and feelings to the internet, there have been an increase in recent years of defamation suits.
There has been a rise, certainly over the past 10 years, as social media has taken online communications to a new level, and people have weaponized speech, and you can reach so many people so quickly. There has been an increase in these reputational type cases, even going back further than 10 years, 20, 25 years since the advent of the internet. They used to talk about how there would be reputational harm in the online cybersphere, and that has turned out to be the case. Now, that doesn't always mean that there is an equivalent rise in the number of defamation lawsuits. There may have been some increase in that, but I don't know that it's been an astronomical increase in defamation lawsuits.
But for Daphne Joy, who is a defendant in the case, Meadows says there is a seemingly simple defense for defamation cases.
Well, truth is an absolute defense to defamation. And when we talk about truth in the defamation world, the defendant doesn't have to show 100% truth. They just have to show substantial truth of the statement that they made. That's going to be something that a jury is going to decide. I highly doubt a judge would take these disputed facts and find that there was no disputed issue and it should not go to the jury. Hypothetically, could there be a series of statements where Daphne Joy had admitted to someone that it did not take place? Is it possible that there are witnesses around all the time that would say that it did not take place? I guess that's possible, but unlikely in these types of scenarios.
So could we see 50 Cent dropping the suit against his ex and potentially settling? Meadows says that remains unclear.
You never know. Obviously, just looking at, the complaint here and some of the allegations in the complaint, there have already been some communications to resolve the matter. I suspect they will continue to go forward. And oftentimes, if there's going to be a settlement, there might not be a settlement until there's been a first battle before the judge to see whether or not the case goes forward. Oftentimes in litigation, it's always about the balance of power and leverage and who has leverage and when is the right time to make a settlement offer. And that can change through the course of a case. I will say at the same time, in some defamation cases where money is not important, and what's important is having a court or a jury decide that what was said was false and defamatory, the plaintiff is not inclined to settle at all and wants to take this all the way to the end. And whether or not that is what 50 Cent wants to do, only 50 Cent and his lawyers know that.
Curtis Jackson, aka 50 Cent, is seeking more than $1 million in monetary damages. And at this time, Daphne Joy hasn't publicly responded to his lawsuit. Reporting for Law and Crime, I'm Elizabeth Millner.